what time they actually get. All right, I have 6 o'clock. We will call this meeting of the budget hearings together for the Finance Committee. Our third night, our May 4th night here. On our agenda tonight, we're going to start with the Highway Fund, 131. So if you will, turn your packet to the 131. It should have a blue tab there on the top of it. Miss Amy's got them well tabbed for us here. There's a front page there. Has a highlighted piece talking about maintenance of effort inside this conversation. It says the amount I have budgeted is as close to the 5-year average I can get without going below the state. Says here this amount cannot be decreased. We know that what that's talking about, that maintenance of effort piece, just to make sure we read that part out. The state will keep part of the fuel of our fuel tax if this amount is below the 5-year average. So I appreciate that. Yeah. Up front here with us, it's meeting as close to that average as you can.
We're trying to keep it close.
One of the things we continue to see through this budget that's increased pretty heavily is insurance. That seems to go up regular. But here we are, 131 fund. Just by way on that first sheet as well, reminder what dollars the county has put in that is still part of that maintenance effort. It does state that will be used for asphalt in this county. Mr. Scruggs, is there anything on this account that you'd like us to know about anywhere in it, or anything you want to speak to?
That's the only thing that got in there other than, our state money and pretty much budget the same amount of money for each line item is, didn't put the 2.5 step raise in there if we're doing it. It's in there. So, other than that, we pretty well try to go back to the same, close to the same numbers. Back when we used to, we got the 100,000 a little over from y'all, and then some improved that money got up to $500,000 in payment, but now a mile of payment for me is 140,000. So they gonna get near the bank for a buck we used to get. But, yeah, it was $53, and now it's $83 a ton. So it's been up $30 a ton start of the year. Other than that, we try to keep everything pretty close to actually roll some money that we didn't use. We just rolled it over into our fund balance. We just had some line items and stuff we didn't really need. Didn't have to have. We wanted, but we needed them, but it wasn't all had to have. So we rolled some of it back into the fund balance to try to help it out as best we could. So.
You mentioned that you did put the 2.5 that the county has put into the steps.
Yeah.
Mr. Scruggs, if I may, have you had a lot of overtime? I see there's an increase that you're projecting in overtime.
Oh, yeah, we had all them wind storms I had, and snow and ice, and we had thank goodness it's the rescue and fire department helped us look. We'd been 2 or 3 days on some of them storms getting them cleaned up. Fire and rescue come out and helped us. Appreciative of them coming out and helping us out anyway. So, other than that, we don't try to, if we pay them, we might try to do a little overtime and gonna cut somebody off short. Like my truck driver's gonna be done at 2 o'clock, a paver crew, won't be done to 4:30 time to clean up everything. We'll run a little over so I can get an extra, before I to get the truck drivers on closer to 4 o'clock, so. But other than that, we don't try to do any overtime unless it's a tree or, y'all were now, the sheriff's department causes a lot of wrecks and wants us to come and put out detour signs and work traffic some, so. We do it a little bit where we didn't used to do it, so. Yeah, we try to keep our overtime on this regular working at a minimum, you know, we don't try to work, well, paving and storm is the only time we do it overtime, so.
Any other questions? Within this committee, of any line item?
I guess I got one, on we board to go with this 2.5% increase. On what Amy put on my papers is $330,000.
Across all budgets is what we're talking about?
Those goes more.
I think it's a viable question. I think in the original document, if it was written, if I read it correctly, it was actually performance-based steps with performance evaluations for each department head would have to conduct those performance evaluations.
Did the highway enter into the wage study like we did? Or do you have your, are you separate?
We was on our own.
That's what I thought.
Do you still get $3 back for the one receiving the gas tax?
Yeah, pretty close, yeah.
So
About 293 or something like that.
I knew it's close. A lot of people don't realize that every dollar we take in the exit tax year, we get 2.93 back from the state.
Buy your fuel local.
That's one of those problems. It's good shape that, in fact, we've had good leadership.
Buy local. Even though this 2.5 that we were talking about, that's what I'd ask Ms. Amy here in this case. In his budget, that's not in the county's side of that 2.5 raise, so that's in his budget. So he's not asking for additional dollars from the county on this budget to cover that.
Did you give raises last year?
Yeah, I give, 3, I believe, 3%. Still got, Wilson County, he said he paid his truck driver $22 an hour, my truck drivers now just get $15 an hour now, so. I said, way below, as far as I lost 2 this past year, went to Wilson County. Full insurance and $22 an hour and on full time, where my guys would be laid off in November and not come back till March or April, so.
How much of the insurance did you run? How much of their insurance did you run?
We just pay on the full-time employees, we pay on, we don't, seasonal, we don't pay nothing on them.
How much you pay on the full time?
I don't know. Total on it. We got the same insurance that everybody else has got.
I think one thing to keep in mind here as we're looking at this budget, it is not asking for a county increase to the bottom line of the county's cost. All other pieces inside here are.
The only way we got, won't get any county money is from prison money, and Carl Thomas said, you need to be at the meeting tonight. So why? And he said, you're going to figure out what to do with the prison money, and I said, well, you just told me the other day that you wasn't going to touch the prison money for a couple of years. So I went and asked for, I know some of them asked for a lot more, I asked for 200,000 and they give me 100, so. Of course, I was paving Old Fent Road, it cost 300,000 to pave over Fent Road, but they give me 100. $100.
State have to that, state have to.
Yeah. I finally got it put over on state aid, yeah. Had to drop some other roads that we just paved, I dropped them and put it. Then now, when one of the other ones gets ready, I hope I can drop it and go back, put it, state aid back on some of the other
How
roads.
many miles we like having the whole county paved now?
About 2 miles
What is that?
up in Cato.
You got any plans to do that?
Well, I've got several up there that live on them, it's just one house making some of them roads. They said they don't want to pave road because right now, nobody comes up in there, and if you pave it, everybody come, I said, yeah, when you pave road, everybody wants to see what's going on, and so if you leave it dry, you don't have no trouble with traffic, so.
I'll make a motion, we send this as a favorable recommendation.
Motion.
You're not asking.
Motion for favorable recommendation and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, let me know by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It does move with a favorable recommendation for the highway fund, 131.
Appreciate it.
We will, move to county buildings. You'll find your 101, and be on page 12.
Appreciate everybody, so.
Thanks, sir. Page 12, as I stated there on the county buildings. Does have a pretty substantial increase at this current time for this bottom line. And has already, from last year's, had a few budget amendments to increase that budgeted amount from last year as well.
What are the building improvements to the admin building and the extension office?
The extension office needs a new roof. Is that correct? Is that happening this year or next year?
As soon as possible. All the gravel's going off the shingles right now.
Is that where the majority of this 35,000, is there a breakdown for this 35,000?
There's not a
On
breakdown.
the roof for 13.5, we're waiting on.
Okay. And then as far as the admin building, just moving offices around, Rita moving over to where the water department was. I'm moving offices around the corner. We're not saying that we're going to use it all. We just need some funding in case we need to.
Rita's
That'd be
auditors have kind of raised a fuss about that being an open area. We may have to do something to secure that entire window area a little later on. But we're just now hearing this as of just now.
What do you got to do to the elevator? That's what the good says.
Well, that's a minimal, it should be less than $1,000. It's just an inspection that we'll have done there. I don't think it was anything. I see 3268 there. But I don't see it being that much unless it's gonna be a quarterly thing.
It's got 45,000.
Increase of $15,000.
Well, and that's repair for all buildings. That's repairs for all the buildings. We don't know what's coming throughout the year. It's,
That's just the estimate.
exactly.
I only asked, why was it increased when we didn't spend the 15,000, but 15,000 of the 30 this year?
And right now, that's an estimate as of February. I haven't looked,
So
updated it.
15,000 is a February.
Mhm.
And another thing is we hadn't ordered the LEDs for the courthouse. We were kind of waiting on that to get finished up before we ordered the LEDs for that. So that would be another cost in that
The, doors, windows, and lights line item there, going from 8,000 to 15,000. Furnitures and fixtures, seven, what was that? I'm looking across the line correctly, 711.
For the LED lights, we can do that.
That's what I was.
I
711,
Down at the bottom.
15,000, second 15,000 up. Same doors, windows, and lights.
Pretty sure that's gonna be the admin building. I don't know. I don't know if the courthouse was included in that or not.
I want to say that it was.
Another building that we were gonna try to do, move to LEDs this year is the library. The library is 47 lights, I believe, and we can get it down to 20, 22 at the most with LEDs. They're a lot brighter and they're a lot more efficient. We did the extension office 2 years ago, and we're seeing a $20 to $30 a month drop. It's hard to gauge that one because the sheriff's station has inmate work crew underneath. They have all their equipment, so they're constantly charging and making eyes. There's different things, different variables in that building that we just can't keep our thumb on like we could in the library. We're trying to justify them to get recommendations to do all the buildings to LED lighting, but we thought the extension office would be a good one because they were having a lot of light issues, so we went ahead and changed it over. But it's not been a good one. I mean, $20 a month, it does add up over a time if we get all the buildings on that, and it would certainly help.
You're saying you saw a $20 decrease in
A month, yes, sir.
any other questions on page 12 here, looking at the 51,800 county buildings?
You see any of these that you think you could save some money on, or?
I really don't know when we go back up to the top one, it's got the 30,000. There's several things that, is gonna have to be done where the water department was, the flooring in, Commissioner McFarland's office. They gotta tear that carpet out, it's, stained beyond repair. We've already had Leo Moore come in and take the measurements. I haven't got the quote back from him yet, so as soon as we get that back, we've had to move some cabinets in the teller area. When we moved those, they didn't floor that area, which we have the tile. It's just a matter of getting all that floored in. There's several things that are probably going to be uninspected in that area. I just won't know until the auditors say we have to put some kind of a window system in or a drop gate, some kind of security thing to secure the computers. They want them under lock and key at night, but they have to be plugged in and hooked to the internet and running because they update almost nightly. So I can't unplug them and have them put them in the vault or anything like that. I mean, it would be troublesome too. So.
Who's gonna move into that area?
Miss Rita?
Kevin Coker?
Yes.
That's what you're talking about. Is that the 35, part of the 35,000?
I would say, yeah. I'll be honest, I haven't had a lot of time to go over this particular page. When grass starts growing, we're hard to find.
Sounds like one big project is a roof project, and the other big part is the move from the water department out.
Yes, sir.
So
And
there's
some of the
two things in
lighting.
this budget.
Yeah. We really want to start moving forward on some of the LED lighting. A lot of the old ballasts and bulbs are just, they're failing. We can buy an LED light for what we can buy a ballast and bulbs for.
and still get the savings over there they do.
Sure.
Even if it's, like you said, $20 a month on each bill, it starts
Right.
having little bits of that.
And, I don't know where it's at, but there's gonna have to be a generator turned in here somewhere. The admin building, generator is down, they tell me it's beyond repair. So it's gonna have to be replaced. We're waiting on some folks to come in, but that has to be working order.
It's like that 335 maintenance and repairs moved up to 45,000, maybe there'll be enough dollars there to, in that line cover.
Has that been maintenance?
Yes.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Slee here on, county buildings? I would imagine that courthouse may be something to come back to us as well.
Because throughout the month,
Hopefully.
No. hopefully. I'll entertain a motion to approve, favorable.
Have a motion favorable and second by Mr. Gregory. Any discussion further? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Being that 100%, I'll leave it at that case, and we will move on. It is approved favorable. You will turn in the 101 still, page 34. We'll be looking at the parks. Page 34 of the 101.
Mr. Tully, refresh my memory on the groundskeeper and waivers. Have we always had two full-time?
We added, a park superintendent, more or less, he's one of my lieutenants now, and we had him on 16, we had him at 101, February last year. Now we have a full-time laborer as well as, this guy, we've got him trained, and he's got more training to do, of course, but we're gonna have to start inspecting the playground equipment, either weekly or bi-weekly. He's gone through some of what to look for and what not to look for, he's got some more training to do, obviously. We're filling out inspection forms now for what we have there, just to get us warmed up for when the new equipment gets here. That'll be some of his job duties, as well as just overseeing a lot of the park, day in, day out, kind of stuff. I'll still do the pool. We've been in the pool all week up until today. Of course, he was in there with me, that maintenance as well, trying to get it ready to go. That's just gonna be one of his jobs.
This cameras down there, can that be done with ARPA funds?
If that's what you would like to do.
Would that not take it out of our budget if you did that, and used ARPA funds? Something you might care how you get it, when you get it, do you?
Like to have it in that area. We don't have a lot of destruction over there, but there is a lot of things that go on. These would be 3 cameras looking all directions. There will be one mounted over close to the skate park that'll have an eye on the skate park, a Little League or T-ball field, that parking lot, and the big pavilion. Be another one mounted up closer to the end of the road that will take care of the concession stand parking lot, the gravel area, and the ball fields. And then one on field 2's scoreboard that'll keep an eye on the back side of the ball fields and that part of the walk track as far as the bridge and that area back there. So that's three, actually 6 cameras, there's 2 cameras in each one, they're not exactly a 360 like what we have over in the Trade Park area, but they're very good cameras, high resolution cameras. I've got video here of a camera just like it running in the park right now. Very good cameras. A lot of this is not for the cameras. We had to go around the radio stations. We got 1,500 feet of conduit that we went ahead and buried just in case this would happen. We've got all the groundwork laid, so if we do decide to pull the trigger this year or next, either way, while we were trenching for the ball field lights and had such a mess in the park, we went ahead and did this so when the grass started growing, we'd have everything cleaned up and ready for the summer. Wouldn't have to do it again.
I appreciate the board, thank you. Good thought there, lay that in, that groundwork for the future. Appreciate that, board, thank you.
As our cameras, we already got the new ones deterred.
We hadn't had any trouble, we hadn't had any issues. I'd rather have that as catching, back that, I'd just rather be a deterrent.
Saves us a lot of work. They were invested, they do it.
We take it off the bridge, we drive, close it.
There's a few things on tonight's conversation about ARPA already. Funds are there, but there's quite a few things already being asked from ARPA and others that may come our way. So, it's $27,500. It is a small number in relation to what you may get for it. I know I mentioned to quite a few of our middle schoolers that hang out. We got some really nice new cameras. Look up, check them out. It's always good to be a deterrent that way. Or a safety measure. They feel more safe. So that means well. Is that what you'd like to do, Mr. Ford? Is that what you're asking us to put that on ARPA?
Or,
Are you asking to put that as ARPA?
yeah,
You'll put that in form.
make it on the motion.
So to approve this budget favorable with ARPA funds for the cameras.
Anything else on there, we put it, our would.
Like you said, we fixed to find out at all. Several more than that, I mean, that's the problem. This is a small amount where we're
What
probably.
he's asking for $78,000. You take 25 off that, it gets you back to 51. That's still about, several cents in the tax rate.
I think
When we get all this added up, somebody's gonna be wondering what's happening.
One correction, and it's probably my fault for not getting to Amy soon enough. The LPR is not included in this. The LPR would be back up toward the park. I got the quote in for it the other day. It's $29,994.08. That's a 0 to 50 mile an hour camera. I talked to a couple of the deputies and they said that they really have to be in an impressive vehicle to get any faster than that in front of where that camera's gonna be. So this was more than enough. The next camera was 50 to 70 mile an hour camera, and it's just too much.
Can you state that price?
$29,994.08.
$2,994.08.
Yes, sir. The camera itself is like 16 something.
So that would put that budget roughly at 30, a little over 30,000 in that camera area there, correct? All right, we'll add that to that ARPA, change that line to,
Want just an even 30,500.
that would move $3,000 of it very quickly. Change that line to an even 31,500. 30,500, I'm sorry. Mr. Gordon made a motion to approve this using ARPA funds for that area.
I'll second that motion.
A motion and second to approve the parks 56,700, with the added change of using the 30,500 for the camera line item, that'd be line item 790, other equipment, out of ARPA funds. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. That will move us to staying in the 101, page 38, just a few pages deeper. This is our local parks, pretty much the grant that we've dealt with for the park, that at some point in time is moving along. Things in government sometimes take a little time to get rolling. Not from lack of work, but just from lack of time to get things moving along.
Well, they've been questioning the land leases. We've been working through that paperwork.
There have been a few hiccups.
Hiccups. But we're moving forward.
Core has some conversations, I think, with us. All right. It's pretty much just, as you'll see, that money that's allocated for the park improvements. Mary, anything to add to this one?
We had meetings last week, moving forward, as far as setting the boundary, what to do with the wood area that had folks' names on it.
I appreciate you mentioning that part. I spoke to some of the parkers here just recently, just to see what their thoughts, and they really like that idea of something that was a wall or something that actually still displayed those items.
That was definitely a priority in our conversations with them.
I think definitely was, and we something very easy to be done. All right, any recommendation? It is the money that's already been allocated in the past for the park improvements. This is a project that is continuing on.
Make a motion to send it on the full favor.
I have a motion for favorable recommendation to the full body. Do I have a second? Mr. Greedy with a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. Speaking, I believe that was 600,000 on that one from ARPA, correct?
Yes,
Which is already taken out of the 1.6.
it has.
Just to make sure everybody's, I should have been clear on that before, but that is that 600,000 that came out of ARPA, but is already taken out of that 1.6 million. It's not a fund that came out now, so it's not sitting there on us. All right, moving to the 116, solid waste. First page there is really just discussing revenues. You have two line items, your blue column and your orange column here. They've been broken out for us. Blue column with the requested vehicles for this department. And the orange column there without. There's a difference of about 5.5, well, a little over 5.5 cents of property tax on that. Looking at line item 147, is that an additional position?
That's a driver supervisor. Some of you've met him in public works meeting. He's one of my drivers. He's been here for a little over 5 years. He's just assumed some of the supervisor positions at the convenience center and up at the shop, the drivers and some of the laborers.
So that 75,785 is divided amongst two individuals there. Are they equally getting the same raise? Is that a?
No, sir. One driver will be a step, and then this one's stepping into a supervisor role as a VA.
So is that a supervisory position that was open, or is that a new supervisory position? New supervisor.
Nice driver. He's, I know, previous mayor talked about hiring somebody to do some of the work, and I just thought we might try to do it in-house. He's been in supervisory role before. He knows the ropes. He's been up there, like I said, a little over 5 years. He knows everything there is about it.
So he would be helping you out supervising all your truck drivers, is that what they're saying?
Yes.
How many individuals will be under?
He'll have some at the convenience center. I think there's 3, 4 part-time down there and a full-time. So he'll have those guys and then a laborer, 2 laborers at the shop. He's getting hired for hire.
Chairman, let me say, point of reference, that I have been with him since shortly after I became mayor, to take some pressure on Cliff because he gets so much done. He saves us so much money for his own personal health and his ability to be focused on bigger issues. But I was pleased he could find someone to take some pressure off that.
This guy really, I mean, he has helped you out a lot there.
I mean, he's still in the learning curve. And as far as purchasing and things like that, you know, I'm still in charge of all that. I oversee this budget. I'll still be in charge of that. Just a supervisor up there and taking care of the stuff that needs to be done. Absolutely.
What would this put his hourly wage?
I mean, should be roughly $1.82.
Give me a minute, I'll find it.
You got plenty of hands, no clue.
No, sir. No, sir. I pressure washed the pool this week myself. Been chasing parts. I've done it all in the pool this week myself.
There's a new program out, I don't know if you'd be interested in it or not, but other counties are taking inmates, of course they pick them, and use them to go to work, send to dinner, eat the dinner, they work, they go back to jail. When they get out, They've paid off their fines. In many cases, they have a job at the end of it. I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in or not, but I began to talk about it because I know it's working in other places.
Right,
Hamilton County is really doing a lot of it.
right.
There's no reason why it wouldn't work. Everybody actually benefits from it.
Yes,
The community, all the fines are paid. If they got child support, that gets caught up.
yeah.
But that's what they're talking about. If we build a new jail, using this old jail as like a workout thing, that's what, I mean, we might go get that and that out, but right now, I mean, we got two. I think Ray's got two people that carries crews out right now, that probably takes all that, I mean. It's got very water, takes every place out there, the roads.
You know, they're getting out of his time.
I know it.
Yeah, there's a time, but you gotta
They might
have,
get them out of jail quick, they ain't gonna help them.
you basically gotta have a workhouse.
Let's come back to the budget that we're looking at here in front of us. There's some great opportunities there in those pieces. I appreciate the clarification on what that is and why that position has changed that way. It's great to see that you move the supervisor up to that spot and have someone to take a little bit of load off. Less people to have to talk to every time.
What was his rate that's up there?
$21.32 per hour is what that rate is. It's about a $44,000, a little over $44,000 a year salary, job. I almost said salary, it's not a salary position, hourly. Well, insurance, I think I asked this earlier tonight, but I'll ask it again. We see our insurance line items in most every one of these with some heavy bumps in them. And the question I'm asking, just to keep it public here, is that an increase to our employees' bottom line benefit, or is that just keeping up with the cost of insurance?
Just keeping up with the cost of insurance.
I just wanted that to be clear. So we're not,
Premiums increased in January from 527 to 588. We did make that adjustment a couple of months ago on this year's budget. We do not have the rates for January 2024 just yet. We normally get those probably the end of May, but again, those wouldn't start until January.
so that increase, as you heard, is strictly to keep up with the cost of. And we do know, as we've talked insurance in the last couple of nights, there may be employees not taking it out, but we budgeted at the rate as if they were taking it out. So that could be a line item with some savings.
Do quite of your employees take out the insurance? Do you?
Yeah, as far as I know, I think and that's another thing, in the attendance, as far as that goes, we're trying to get those all to part-time help in the convenience center. Just because when they go full-time, they want their holidays and weekends off, and that's just something we can't do there, so. Trying to get some part-time help back in there. Offset some of this.
As you speak on that, I was out there this last weekend. I appreciate the new flow of traffic. I think that would be a really good add to our community. I guess at that time, it's time for us to take on the larger pieces inside this piece. Mr. Sleep, I see a roll-off truck on their motor vehicle 718, $230,000 purchase. Where, as you're looking at that truck, what is the need at this point in time?
I have a 2013, 277,000 miles on it, I believe. 2016, it's probably got half of that in the miles. I haven't checked it in the past month or so. The 13 is a never-ending issue. It's something always. The transmission's hunting gear. We purchased that diagnostic computer several years ago just to keep this truck up and running. Because once a month we were having it towed or drove to Nashville in limp mode to have Mac hook a computer to it, spend a day with it, charge us $1,500. And it was happening every month, 6 weeks. So we bought this computer and we're keeping the truck running now, but it's just a never-ending thing. It was one of the first trucks with a Dept system on it. I know everybody in here has heard the woes of Dept system. This is one of the first vehicles that Mac rolled out with it, and it's been a nightmare ever since. We put a new computer on it, it will not automatic regen going down the road, it will not manual regen by the button on the dash, it has to be plugged into a dealer level computer, logged into with some passwords, manually overrode and made to regen once a week usually. And it takes an hour and a half. If we get 2 weeks out of it, it's a blessing. It usually happens on a Monday morning or Friday afternoon. Trying to finish it up.
Price you got out here, you,
Yes, sir. As for Western Star, we've kind of shied away from Mac. We've had terrible luck out of the last two that we've purchased from them. 2 of the last 3. The other one's mechanically sound. It's come up with a few leaks. It could have happened to anybody, I guess, but it's happened to me. Like I said, the other 2, one actually caught fire and we lost it. And this one I just spoke of. So we're just trying to shy away from Macs. This is for Western Star. Macs are the same price. They go up from Western Star to a Pete or Auto Car. Freightliners may be a little bit cheaper, but they're not as dependable as the Western Stars. If I ordered one today, I would probably be looking at 2 years. So we're going to try to make this 13 go 2 years. We'd like to get it approved this year just in case somebody passes on a truck. We'll be able to pick the truck up.
This truck's use is, hauling rollback, roll-off dumpsters to Arthur's landfill mostly.
Yes, sir. From the prison, the convenience center.
you want a backhoe as well.
Yes, sir. We currently have a 96 backhoe that Woody bought in 2007, I believe. It was bought secondhand, of course it was. It's got 7,000 hours on it's got 10,000 on the body and about 3,000 on the new motor. We put a new motor in it 3 years ago. I went to Detroit, picked the motor up, brought it back, put it in. We put a front end under it. Transmission's getting weak now. All the hydraulic lines are failing. Cylinders are failing. The rear end could go out at any time, and then I don't know what we can do. Mr. McFarland, the water department's got a backup when he's lending us at least twice a month in the past 6 months. But we're just always working on that. It's always something.
So if you get new ones, will you be able to salvage anything out of these old ones?
Oh, yeah, we'd be able to sell them. I mean, I think the Mac would bring a reasonable amount of money. It's still a nice truck. It's still a strong truck. It's just not as dependable as what we need.
So you're currently looking at the 2016, you think last year, how much longer? You said it's at 215,000 miles roughly too.
Yeah, it's still a strong truck, no leaks, no issues. I couldn't tell you. You know, we've got a 2005 up there that's got the same setup in it, and it's still going strong. It's 330,000 miles on it. Mind you, it's wore out, but starts and goes every day.
So that would have you would get rid of the 2013
Yes, sir.
and have 3 trucks running.
Well, keeping the 2013 and running it once or twice a week just to have a backup. Our backup roll-off truck right now is a 95 model. My driver's scared to drive it. We're backed up, I have to drive it. They won't drive it.
Just like say Cleo Scott Bob. I mean, as long as he keeps him busy just working on stuff, and he's appreciate him getting by with what he's got by with so far. If anybody needs anything new, I think it'd be him.
What's really hurt me in the pickup department is we've always bought surplus. We've had 2 new pickups in the past 10 years. 2018 and 2022. That's all we've had in the last 10 years, 11 years since I took over this department. We've always bought surplus from the state of Tennessee, their old TWRA. We split 5, but the problem is they went to sell them on gov deals, and I can't compete with the public. We went through this last year, you know, we can buy a new truck for what I'd buy a good used truck for. I don't believe I could buy a used pickup that's worth its weight in salt for $40,000.
Well, I'll put this, as we look here, we were talking about, these would be ARPA fund draws is what we're asking for mostly in this case. There's 1.6 million. These are large purchases, roughly 400,000, 397, my calculator went off, I apologize. 397,500, if I totaled those correctly, with the roll-off, the pickup truck, and the backhoe is what's put in front of us really majorly on this budget. The pickup, you could get by without.
I don't see how, if we get any new hands, I wouldn't be able to send them anywhere. The only thing I've got left is that 99 Suzuki Rodeo pickup, 5-speed. Most of my guys can't drive 5-speed. These new guys sure can't drive. These young guys, they can't drive.
Mr. Lee, I appreciate your answer, and that's what I just wanted to hear you say. That we need.
If I could, I would.
I believe that.
I believe it. I just don't know if I can. I hired a guy 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago. He don't work with us anymore. He gets there at 5-speed. I put him in. Saw him to the red light on Andrews and Rogers. I had to drive back and stop. He couldn't get it back. In tears.
Well, again, if anybody needs anything, you would see him. He's got scraped by for this new stuff. Ever since I've been on the commission, he's saved, working on stuff himself. I mean, I think it's time.
I use backhoe. I've looked, and the problem is we have to get bids, and these guys won't sit around and wait on bids to come. And I can't compare apples to apples when you're looking at them, because there's so many different names. They're all built different horses, different controls, everything's different.
So what is this backhoe?
It's a new
what?
case backhoe. Pilot control. It's just a brand new cab backhoe. You know, there's a lot of times we ride in the weather. Public Works, we explained, we're getting double the ratio of waste in a roll-off that's on the wall up there, because we pack them before we send them to the Smith County Land. Without them being packed, they're 2 tons. With them being packed, they're 4.5. So we double our weight going over there as well.
So that's.
To continue our conversation from earlier, does that backhoe need to be moved down to the recycling center? I think you said that I had it in the wrong spot.
No,
Okay.
it's in the right spot.
Okay.
We use tobacco all over town, but mainly, the majority of it's used in the convenience center.
And also, Mr. Lee, I understood that you been given a little grace from the water department and other departments when we needed help. If we purchase a new backhoe for your department, obviously you turn in favor.
Well, they've used ours before, you know. They got the new cat that it was a reciprocated deal. We always.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna make a motion to put in this county court in a favorable situation. I think this is the year we need to replenish our machinery and equipment, and whatever we got to have instead of getting huge raises.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion and a second to send the, convenience center budget with a favorable recommendation
How is that being funded?
out.
For ARPA, for
Or
with using some of the ARPA funds.
if we can,
So are we looking to use ARPA or are we looking to use debt? I think that would be the question in front of us right now.
That's the issue.
So are we
so
wanting
use
to take on?
where you can. And do, good laying in the bank. You gotta spend it sooner or later. Just take the benefit from it.
So that would be spending out of the 1.6 million that's sitting in ARPA, $397,500 to cover this budget, if I understand that correctly.
Okay. Are you going to include the baler head that is down in the recycling center? Or are we just looking at the convenience center right now?
Just looking at the convenience center and just these new pieces of equipment right here.
Okay.
$397,500 ARPA.
And if you can use off the phone,
They kind of, I'm more open right now, so yeah. We have a motion and second to send this with a favorable recommendation to the full commission, using $397,500 to purchase the roll-off truck, the pickup truck, and the new backhoe. Any more discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. All right, moving us next to residential trash in year 111. Did I miss something?
There's, oh yeah, there's
I apologize.
recycling, there's,
We didn't get to the next page.
there's 2 more pages.
My apologies. Recycling center under 116.
A recycling center, have an inmate crew and some inmates out behind the prison that actually do all the recycling here in the county. As far as baling the cardboard and getting it ready for shipping.
It appears the major change in this is the baler head that we just spoke of. This is a new baler head for
Baler
the,
head will be, I mean, I've got our wires crossed somewhere, but
Probably.
I don't think it's gonna be that high.
is this the new baler head for the one that, the new station that's been put in?
No, so this is out at the recycling facility.
This cardboard baler head pretty much?
Yeah, we had a Bobcat, bid as well, but it's, this one covered. I think we can reduce this by half and, we'll just scratch it. Well, I'll have to scratch the Bobcat. I've got a 2006 Bobcat out there, and which, you know, you would think it being that new would be in pretty good shape. But it's inmate operated, and, they just don't take care of the equipment like they should. This came over from the North Central Recycling Days, something over here for that. And, we bought it at an auction out there, 2013, 14, I can't remember. And it was wore out then. But I think we'll have to get another year out of it. I can't see, I don't have the money to do everything I need to do here. And I have to fix that baler head, or we won't be producing cardboard that we need to be putting out.
So you're saying you would be fine right now with slashing that 50,000 to 25,000?
Yes.
Did I hear that correct?
Yes, sir. Our inmate van, it was an old, prison inmate van from, city of Nashville. We picked it up at surplus down there for, I wanna say $1,800 in 2013 and 14. It was wore out then, so we really would like to replace it with another good used vehicle.
So who does that now? You got a crew that goes out to the recycling center?
Willie Dodson.
Willie Dodson picks up inmates and takes them out there like.
Yes, sir.
How many does he usually have out there?
2 to 3. I think we got 27 stops or 28 stops here in town. We got cardboard every Wednesday, Monday and Wednesday. And, he does recycling for all the businesses as far as white paper, mixed paper on Thursday. And all the rest of the time they're out there bailing. Smith County just started coming back. They quit shipping cardboard to us during COVID. They're just now starting to bring it back. So we're finally starting to get our numbers back up as far as bales in the building we'd like to see. They bring it to us for free and we sell it. It's between $55 and $155.
We'll get that out of ARPA too.
Is that fundable out of
Yep.
fund balance or out of?
If you take it out of the fund balance, that'll leave your fund balance at 257,318.
You want a motion to take that off?
ARPA or fund balance? It could come out of fund balance on this one. What motion is to go out of ARPA for the purchase of the beta rig?
And next year, I would like to circle back to that Bobcat for this facility.
Do I hear a second? If not,
What is the total that we're taking out of
that would put it roughly at 425,000, a little under 423,500 if I add that's it.
So if you're taking it out of ARPA, that'll put your ending fund balance at 282,318. And that's 422,500 taken out of ARPA.
$80,000.
282,318.
On more.
The whole fund balance, the ending fund balance, not the function, your fund balance. Sorry.
Gotcha. You're talking about where you had the 240, 242, 318.
So look at the blue column. Since we're moving ARPA funds over into this fund, your ending balance will be 282,318 with the ARPA revenues. As far as the function itself, it wouldn't change, except for that 25,000, so that's 102,331. My apologies for the confusion of accounting terms. Here you go. So if you're adding your ARPA funds, I just put it in right there, your ending
Okay.
fund balance.
Instead of the negative 160.
Correct.
Now I get where you're at, sorry. Instead of a draw on the fund balance. All right, I have a motion. Do I hear a second on that motion? If not, okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just speak to the motion, the revenues, that you're saying that are starting to pick up, that's sale of recycled materials, and most of in 21, 22 were about 76,000. And this year, we're estimating to come in around 38.
We have 5 loads out right now that we haven't been paid for. I haven't seen the returns on those yet, so I can only guess. But I would say yes.
But the new Baylor head and Smith County coming back on board, sending this cardboard, should increase that revenue.
Should. Prices are down right now. We moved, like I said, we moved those 5 loads just to make space. So I feel like it should, yes.
Mr. Dennis, in the past, we've sat on that one, our cardboard not moved a lot of it. I can remember that piece of conversation, so it might have been one of those reasons. The 75 was high at one point, the 35 was, it's just been sitting there, and hey, it got, cardboard went up, sold a large amount, sat on a lot, so, I remembered that conversation come up quite a few times.
How much is a good cardboard now?
$55 a ton last time.
How much can you haul on the load?
44,000 pounds.
Well, how far do you have to haul
Goes to Alabama and Georgia.
it? You have to take it down there?
No, sir. They send a truck to pick it, they pay the
Oh,
shipping and
they
everything.
come out,
Yes, sir. All we do is load it for them.
see the better.
Yes, sir.
So that is not including the cost, and there's no cost to us, the
No, sir.
$55
No,
is
sir.
straight money
That's
per
it.
ton. Mr. Dennis, that answer where we are on that? I do have a motion and a second at this point to send the recycling center with a favorable recommendation, slashing the line item 116,557,51,733 to $25,000 from $50,000. Purchasing the Baylor head out of ARPA funds. Any other discussion before we vote on this one? If it'd be all right by the committee, I have an individual here with us, commissioner as well, in the body that would like to speak. Is everybody all right with that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a question for Mr. Saleh. The last item on page 41, the disposal fees, going from 210 to 300. Are we still have the locked-in rate with Smith County, or are we?
We're not on that budget yet.
I thought we were on the.
No, so we haven't got there yet. We're on the recycling center in the, you're good. We're still in 116 on that. You're on residential trash on that part. In the next, is that where you are?
No, it's just the next function down.
Yeah, the very last item on page 41.
Waste disposal fees. Is that where you're at? Yes, sir. We're headed there next.
Okay, I'm
Gotcha.
pretty sure, I'm sorry.
Is everyone clear now where we are? I get where you come back. I think you're gonna hear that same question come up. All right, with that case, Recycling Center has a favorable recommendation for $25,000 out of ARPA funds to purchase the Baylor head that is needed for recycling, out at the Recycling Center for cardboard. All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. Those funds are sitting there. There are some needs, but they can be spent very quickly. I think there's some wise purchases thus far that are needed, but they can be spent by very quickly. All right, moving us down to that next piece, 55759, other waste disposal. And it mentions county growth, our growth in our county. 225,000, it's up $75,000. Is that a change in our fee? I think that's exactly what we're asking. We've been locked in at $37, I believe.
That was a 5-year deal, and we are still under that deal for another year or two. I'm pretty sure it's 2 more years. I talked to the director over there. He assures me that our rate will not go up much at all. When it does go up, if it goes up, he's raised everybody around us to a substantial rate, $100 a ton, I believe, is what they're paying right now.
I might ask, if he's saying that now, let's see if we can lock him in for another 5 years then, before he leaves, or takes a chance that he's not there. Maybe he locks it in for 8 years. Be nice to see if we can get that in writing in the contract. That'd be a substantial jump, if we went to 100. If it'd be all right by the members, I've got a public member here that might speak as well. Is everybody good with that?
They take the rejects to the county. They just park each year there because they have a hard time finding people to take the reject from the closest road.
Yes, sir.
It goes into our sewer system.
So we kind of have a little bit of a trade-off there.
You know, you have a trade-off. I think it's, that might be one of the things that might help keep the price low, because we said that they have a hard time getting rid of it. And it's not affecting the sewer system, and we take it. So that's something, that's a negotiating thing.
I appreciate that. Mr. Tommy, that's Mr. McFarland, that's good to hear. So there is we do have a little bit of a give and take there in this case. Is there a cost associated back with him for that leachate?
We charge them for it, we make money off of it.
Maybe somewhat of a wash. All right.
A lot of that is growth in the county. And, I can see that, we can see it at the convenience center throughout the weekend when we come back the rest of the week. So a lot of it is growth.
It costs to get rid of materials. That's just where we stand. It's trash that we see going in out there every day. It has to be disposed of. Nice to hear we're getting a decent rate. Any motion by the body?
Where'd you
We're right there on the other waste disposal here. Bottom of, it doesn't have a page number on it. We're still on the 116?
Yeah.
Do you need a motion on this?
Hey, if you would, we should get it, we move it on. We've got a cost us either way. Favorable recommendation motion?
Also,
Okay. Yeah, all those in favor, let me know by saying aye. Aye. It does move on. So it's gonna cost us, let's see, we got. Now, let's be correct, we got a couple more items on the back, right? You can see it here. Next page, 55,770, post-closure care cost. I assume this is still at the field, landfill out on.
2 landfills we have at the end of Cannon's Lane. One at the property, one on the guy's property. 16, 17 acres on Evans property and roughly 5 acres on Green Dye's property.
This was a large cost in the past to clean that up, I guess we would say. We had to add a cap on it about 3 years ago. I remember that correctly. It was quite expensive. Quarterly testing now is required in one of those.
For both, for at least this year and possibly next year for one. The 5 acre property, hopefully will be out of the testing phase, quarterly testing phase for it this year. We've tested well below any of the concerned areas in the water sample. And, the Evans property, we're still seeing some, but the landfill is still settling a little bit, and it just takes a lot of time for that stuff to move out. They were saying a year, but there's no way that could have got cleaned up in a year, what was up there.
The state been back up there yet?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Right now, they've got them confused on the numbers. I'm getting wrote up for a landfill that's in perfectly good shape versus the other one that's not in such good shape. We're working on that right now. The Evans landfill, the 16, 17 acre one, is still showing some signs of leachate outbreaks, but they're at a minimal, and it's minor solids that are coming off right now. And the wet sampling that took place last month tested probably 80 to 85, maybe 90% better than the one previous year. So it's definitely cleaning up. They're going to do a dry sampling, which is just sometime during the summer when the water's running a little lighter. Where they were trying to collect the samples, there was a real small light flow. It was the only place she could access it just because of the way it's there in the runoff. And she disturbed a lot of the underlying sediment, contaminated the water. So they're going to have to silt, screen the water and run it through a filter this time and test just the water, not the solid. So summer we'll have a better idea of what's going on.
So they're not answering right now.
They're satisfied, but they still want that summer sample. This is the quarterly stuff. If this goes good, we should be able to move to an annual sample once a year.
Part of the cost of the landfill in time past there. Incentive.
So they got paid for it once.
They did. They still had a pretty good cost to the county, if I remember that. So either way here, these are costs that are going to, we have to take on, favorable or not favorable. These are costs we have to incur to maintain those pieces of property. I'd be willing to hear a motion of favorable if we're willing to go that way. We'll do 5,800 as well. The 57,770 and the 5,800 as well. I think both those could be included here together. They're both areas that we have no real way of getting out of. Does everybody go with that? Your favorable motion, go with that? Yes. Do I hear a second to that motion? All those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. All right, that moves us out of the 116 into 111, residential trash. Try to keep things somewhat orderly here. So I did just ask Ms. Amy here, if this budget is completely approved, it does not have any new tax levy on urban services. So as this budget sets, it would be covered at the tax rate as of now. It would require no new tax to cover this. Any questions looking at the,
Is these positions filled, the 2 drivers and the 3 laborers? They,
I only have one driver right now. I'd have to see the names to know whether or not I have laborers in this area. I think I've just got one, maybe 2, but I'm pretty sure I just got one in this area right now.
just to make sure we're on page 5 of the 8 there, for everyone that's on this budget, page 5 of it. I apologize for not clarifying that. So is the reason this year's estimated budget is quite a bit lower than last year's budgeted amount, is that because of unfilled positions?
I would have to assume, yes, sir. Yes,
I saw labor was budgeted 96,000, estimated cost of 43,000, that's
it shows in,
what you are missing, a laborer there,
or 2.
you're missing 2 now. Any questions for Mr. Slee here?
I make a recommendation.
Looks pretty good, favorable recommendation. Do I hear a second? Any questions before that? Still some quiet, still some time, Mr. Ford? Second, okay, I'm sorry, I thought you had, I apologize. We have a favorable recommendation. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. That brings us to what would have been the end of tonight. I was asked earlier today, and said, I think it'd probably be a good idea, the fire department might meet us here and discuss tonight as well on the fire budget. So we will move, fire budget from Wednesday night's, session next week to tonight. That's 54 through 10, page 26 of our 101. So we'll go to 26 of our 101. I apologize for the, late movement of that. If that is okay by everybody in this committee, I'll say that. Page 26 of the 101, if everyone in this committee is fine with that.
Thank you. I'm not needed, we got 2 boys at home fighting.
Mr. Salee, we appreciate you, sir. Page 26 of the 101, the fire budget.
We've done some modest increases in various line items that pertain to equipment and maintenance of equipment, especially vehicles. We're finding as we have to get trucks and equipment bought and truck serviced, that cost of service is going up like everything else is. Had one truck last week that we had to rebuild the primer pump and rework all of the side valves on it. That was a little over $3,000 for one truck, so it gets pricey working on those. The large amount in the budget deals with the brush truck that was wrecked in December. The county did receive an insurance payout for that truck and it's listed on the line beside it, $174,033. Amy, the check has been received,
Yes,
correct?
sir. That was
Where's
actually
the
when,
money parked now?
currently it is in 101. That is going to be a budget amendment on this month's agenda, appropriating the insurance recovery and the expense of that.
Okay, so it's in 101 fund balance?
It has been deposited in 101.
Okay. The $174,000 that we received as a payout, unfortunately, will not buy a replacement truck. The chassis alone, have gone up 38% in a year. Not including all of the other equipment, the nozzles, the tank, the hose, the electrical and the lighting. The current estimates on a replacement truck, pretty much as that one is built, would put you at about $240,000, up significantly from what you gave. I've had sales reps from representing 2 different companies talk to me this week about replacement brush trucks. Both of them were in the same ballpark, roughly $240,000. My approach was to take the insurance payment and add to it. I was suggesting use some of the ARPA monies, making that a one-time purchase so that we could get a new brush truck and get it ordered. Any of the trucks that we decide upon, the payment is on delivery, not when ordered. There is no deposit required.
How long does it take them to deliver one?
There is one of the vendors I spoke with has a chassis available now, and they have a VIN number on that chassis, which means the chassis itself is complete if they've got a VIN number. It takes about an additional 60 to 75 days for the companies to finish completing the truck. The second company, they don't have chassis in stock yet. They're anticipating their chassis to arrive in the 3rd quarter of the year, which would put you September, October before that chassis will arrive. And then you add another 75 days to it, so that truck would be roughly Christmas.
Does this come with all the equipment you need?
Just about all of it, Jerry. There'll be some more. It does not come with radios. It does not come with 1.5-inch hose already on it. It does not come with some of the nozzles and fittings that will need to be added. It does not come equipped with all of the rakes and flappers that would go with such a truck as that.
What is your water intake on this truck?
The one we wrecked would hold 300 gallons. One of the ones we're looking at as a replacement would hold 400 gallons. One of the trucks we're looking at is it's capable of 100 gallons a minute at 140 PSI, which means you could, if you've got a great water supply or you're tied into a good water supply, you could use that type of truck as in a limited capacity as a first-line fire truck.
Pounds per square inch.
So,
Yes,
Yeah.
Is it mostly what you use this for, is putting out brush fires?
Yes. The truck that we were originally replacing is a 1991 Ford F-250. It's about wore out, folks. I'm about like Cliff's equipment on that one. It's gotten to the point that I keep a spare starter on the shelf because the starters overheat and lock up on us, and so I've gotten so I keep a spare starter. That truck has a 250-gallon water tank with it. So as we are getting newer, we're upgrading the volume of water that it is capable of transporting. The truck options we're looking at are a Ford 550 chassis. One of the trucks is just a straight single cab. One of the trucks we were looking at is a extended cab. It would technically seat 4, or you could pitch some of your gear behind the seats.
Is it classified 2-ton truck?
Yes. The truck we wrecked was an F450, and everybody now is moving to 550 chassis. You can't find a 450 anywhere, and the price of those chassis went up 38% almost overnight.
Is there any salvaging it out of your old trailer?
Yes. With the payment that we accepted, we keep the old truck. We had met and talked with Seth Blankenship from Blankenship's Body Shop, and he believes he can straighten and repair a lot of the undercarriage work that truck will need for a reasonable amount of money. He was talking $25,000 to $30,000 to put the truck back in kind of roadworthy condition. The $300,000 that I had marked on the line would include a new brush truck at current price, plus some extra money that we could fold into the repair work on the wrecked truck that we'll be able to
You
keep.
need the wreck truck too.
I'd like to have 2 brush trucks. We want to run twice as many grass, brush, and woodland fires as we do structure or any other type of calls.
Especially if it gets dry.
Yes. And if the county got to the point of ever wanting satellite fire stations, then that would simply be another fully equipped truck, piece of equipment that might be moved to a satellite. We've got 2 tankers paid for. We kept the old one for that purpose. If we could get the second brush truck up and running, that would give us another piece of equipment that you already owned and could move to a satellite station. I think at some point you're going to have to cross that bridge. I don't know which year it is. Sir?
Both ends of the county needs to have.
Right.
No doubt about it. Insurance is killing them on both ends. What is it, 5 miles?
Most of the insurance companies look at insurance rates based on 5-mile distance from the station.
Right.
And the
5
fringes.
5 road miles, not
Correct.
just 5 radius.
5 road.
5 road miles.
And your extreme areas of the county are beyond that. To where I live, my house, I'm 5 miles from town, where I live, and you've still got another section of the county that's rapidly growing beyond me.
All that we wrote down there, near the court.
So that's kind of where we are with what we're doing, and I know I'm gonna need some extra monies to, one, replace the truck that was wrecked. The insurance payout is just not enough. If we also add to that a little extra money, then I think we can get the wrecked truck roadworthy.
I think it sounds like I like hearing the plan that there's an option there for 2 trucks and the ability for those 2 trucks to be dispersed at some point in time later, available for us to be utilized.
And Mr. Chairman, I'm trying to figure out a way that you can do it without increasing tax levy.
I just asked Miss Amy here, she gave me a little bit of a grimace when I asked it, but I said, instead of ARPA, we've spent a lot of money out of ARPA tonight, could the fund balance of 101 handle it? And she said it could handle it. She didn't like saying it could handle it, but it could handle it. You know, it may be an option for us to look at going that way.
We need to wait and see the bottom line to make a decision. She's shaking her head yes too.
Well, as I said, she was grimacing when I asked that question a bit, but,
We're just gonna need some money from one source or another
That's right.
source, to buy the new truck.
So if we were to pull it from, or in agreement to pull it from ARPA and see towards the end that we needed to back up and get it back up for it to come out of fund balance.
in other words, I think you're asking, if we approve it out of ARPA tonight, could we change that and prove it out of fund
Exactly.
balance when we get through this later?
Yes.
You're gonna
Yes.
need to end up
Still
at the
same
end
place.
of the day with enough money in the fire department line item from whatever source to cover those trucks.
We're really looking at spending $126,000 more to have 2 trucks on the line, if I'm reading this correctly.
I think that will get you there,
I
Landon.
agree with Beverly. I think tonight we ought to consider taking out ARPA, and then if later we want to change it, we can.
But like I said, the new truck is a pay at point of delivery, so
That's a ways down. the
it
road.
could be if we could deal with one vendor, it might be as early as a September truck. If we deal with a different vendor, then we're probably looking at Thanksgiving to Christmas on a truck. So your money's not due until the truck arrives and is accepted.
How long are we looking at having the original truck repaired and back on the road?
Time frame, we haven't asked that question of Seth. We just asked him to look at it, give us a rough quote, which he did, but no time frame.
If I'm looking at the budget right now, it was budgeted, this budget was budgeted $124,000 last year. There's $81,000 estimated expenditure. Is there not enough there to go on and say, hey,
There's
Seth, let's
some
move?
there's still some outstanding
Still got some fun balance.
invoices.
So you do not think there's enough there to go on and say, Seth, let's move and fix this truck? The
Be
26,000 we
tight
talked
on it,
about?
Amy.
It would be, like I said, the estimated numbers are based from February. They haven't been updated since then. So as Beeler said, there's probably some expenses that are not being listed right now.
So did I hear you say that all of our estimates are based off of February funds?
February and I think early March.
Another.
But I tried to
fairly-
estimate it for the remaining of the year. So please
Okay.
understand
So
that.
it's using that piece, it's not,
Right.
okay, gotcha. Now I heard you
Another
clearly.
pretty good sized,
Sorry for that. Scott.
piece in the budget is for new turnout gear. Turnout gear is supposed to be cycled out after 10 years of use. If it gets tears or wears sooner than that, it has to be taken out. We've got, let's see the notes. I've got 12 sets that are currently suitable. 7 sets are out of date. We typically put some of our younger rookie firemen, especially those that are on probation, in some of the oldest gear because they can't get in what we call the hot zone anyway. And then we try to keep the gear that our more senior members have all current and up to date under specs.
How many members do you have now, Mark?
18. The turnout gear cost, one vendor quoted me $3,200 a set. That's coat, pants, boots. A different vendor, and I have not seen his turnout gear yet, but he quoted me $2,400 a set. We wrote specs a number of years ago, so the turnout gear that we buy will need to match the specs. And from the second vendor that was cheaper, he and I have not gotten together to compare specs. But I had plugged a number in of 30,000 to get 10 sets of turnout gear.
You think you'll have anything left in your fund balance here to do it?
I may, yes. The problem with turnout gear is it's like a lot of other equipment. Some of it takes many weeks to get delivery. One vendor is quoting 7 months from time of order to time of delivery. Another vendor was quoting me 14 weeks between point of order and point of delivery. I haven't ordered any yet. But that's another need we're going to have will be turnout gear. That's a big ticket item.
Will you be using the grant you received this year or next year?
Amy, I'm trying to use it this year.
Okay.
I've got an $11,000 grant, a little over, that will purchase a thermal image camera and 6 SCBA bottles. It's through the State Fire Marshal's office. I'm in the process of getting quotes now, and so if they will come back pretty quickly, then Amy, I'll spend those dollars out of this year's budget. We've received this grant money. It's different from some, but you receive all of the money on the front end, and then you in turn send in receipts and invoices for what you've spent. But yes, I will attempt to do that, but we plugged it into this budget not knowing whether or not I could get my quotes and do the spending within this current budget year or not. So that 11,400 may disappear as a line if we can spend it this year.
All right, look at this, we see an ask of 126,000 out of ARPA. That would be fixing the current truck that was wrecked and putting it back on the road usable, and purchasing an additional truck with some, one thing I like, and I'll mention this here, with some future thought in play. I like
I'm
some
gonna
things.
put that for a motion
Got a motion favorable to recommend this to the body. It's been seconded as well. Any more discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye.
I'm gonna do my 101 too. Or
111, we can.
I asked for a small increase in the fire
Let us
111.
get to 111 if you don't mind first.
Has never,
Page 4 on your 111.
has never had a very large line item for fire protection. Most of it is nested in the 101 fund. The urban residents do receive a slight benefit, one from quicker response times to them. Secondarily, when the insurance scoring is done, the folks closer to the station typically get a little break on homeowner's insurance. But that being said, I had bumped 111 to 15,000. 5,000 of that is fuel, 10,000 as supplies and equipment. I'd like to pick up some new ladders, some additional SCBA bottles. And our SCBA bottles that we utilize, they have a full 15-year life, but they have to be retested and recertified every 5 years. So I know I've got bottles that on the shelf that I've got to go through the retesting, and I have not been able to get with a vendor to get a quote on that yet. And then we need some additional buckets of firefighting foam. So those would be some things kind of earmarked for the 111 fund.
Is that coming out of your other supplies and materials and then your?
Yes, all those things I mentioned would be in that 10,000. Questions?
Any questions there?
What I'm saying here, you want the 95 to 15, is that right?
Yes.
Mr. Gregory, being in urban service, you see anything here? As I had asked earlier from Ms. Amy, if this entire 111 is approved, it would require no change to the tax.
I guess I'm okay with it. I mean, we're gonna have our urban services council meeting in the council too, but I mean, I think everybody looks pretty good with it. What was some of the stuff you said, other equipment, I didn't write that down, that you're going to buy with extra funding?
I want to get some, at least 2 new extension ladders, additional SCBA bottles, and have current bottles retested and recertified, and some additional firefighting foam. Foam, it's an additive we mix, blend with water, works great on some wood fires, structural fires. It literally puts a blanket on it and smothers the air, cuts off the air supply.
We know you got some money back over here in some of this other. Is there any way you could not raise this unit right here? And if you need it later, come back to us. And
Sure.
I feel like the court, if you really need it, would find the money. If you feel like you could, we're getting hit hard. I mean, and the big ones ain't even come yet.
Sure, I can do that.
Mr. Ford, I will state again, as stated, the 111 side of this is not changing the tax levy at all on the urban service side of it.
Right.
So you would be willing to cut off back to the same budget, is that what you're saying, of 9,500?
Sure.
That way you
I'll
can
make
see
it
what
do
you-
as long as it'll do.
You can see what you've got and what you need, then you'll have a better idea about it. I don't think there's one of us, if you actually come down and like that town is, that you will get it.
You want to put that in form of a motion here?
Sure.
Your motion is that you're scratching this budget back to the 9,500 that was budgeted last year.
Right. With the understanding, if you can't find it in none of the others, you don't have it. And any of that, later on, surely God will find enough to buy a few bottles of SDA and a couple of others.
Understood. So it was seconded by Mr. Gregory. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye.
Chairman, thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you, Lord.
How's everyone? You say you got 18 members now?
All right, that does bring us to a close on tonight's meeting. We have, sir,
You gonna put early?
well, 10 minutes earlier than 8 o'clock, but I guess that's early. If y'all want to go further, we can find something else, I guess, to talk about. But those are the ones I've really looked at.
Next week.
Yes, sir. Yes, we still got some Tuesday, Wednesday night of next week. I will mention next Thursday night, we are going to have a change of venue for sure. Where's that venue? It's going to be somewhere by the admin building, whether it's in the admin building or in, we're going to, Mr. Tommy, you can send an email. I don't want to mention that right now without.
He has answered that. He did say that we could use it.
Okay, so Mr. Tommy has answered the email that was sent to him earlier. I apologize for putting you on the spot there. But we will be moving to the conference room, if I say that correctly, of the water department, due to downtown sounds going on here Thursday night in this area. Sort of make it a little easier to, that's next Thursday night. Thursday night we'll be there. We'll be, and we're going to actually move that meeting to 7 o'clock next Thursday night. Thursday night, next, that meeting's at 7 o'clock, unless Mr. Gregory wants to be chair. I've got to be somewhere at 6 o'clock that night. I think he said that's correct. So we have a plan there, and that's where we stay at this point.
Mr. Chairman, there's gonna be a funeral in this room tomorrow, and when I was taking the chairs down, they came in and asked me would I be kind enough to set up 8 round tables before we leave, so you guys can stay in here for a few minutes, that'd be great.
Appreciate you reminding me, Captain. I guess we will take a motion to
Make a motion to adjourn.
adjourn. There we go. Appreciate it. Thank you. All those in favor, let's just move on and get up. Not leave, but set up chairs, tables.